who are you on
I am
site?
the hunter. I'm.
Blue, who are you on site? Explain it to them.
Well,
What
sorry,
is
my phone rang, but basically,
Yay! Problems in the first 2 seconds.
that?
all right, hold on.
Okay, so Joe, how was your day?
Anyway, well, I have two accounts right now. I don't know how to pronounce the other one, so I'm assuming it's Basil or Basil or Basil or whatever.
Something. I
Yeah.
call it basil.
Spice.
What?
You're spicy.
Oh, I'm spicy. Anyway, and then the other account Sloth, which I'd rather go by only because I know how to pronounce that one. So anyway, for all intents and purposes, my name is Joe. So
Oh my
Don't tell
god,
me that.
I'm the best artist on DeviantArt. Oh my god. Joe, love all the art.
okay. Anyway,
Sorry,
continue.
guys.
Blue.
Forgot we were on a podcast for a second already.
All right, guys, my name is Blue Man. I'm Kane and Riley Oren on the Genesis Project. I'm the founder of the site. Call me.
You already know who I am. I'm dumb.
He's the hunter. And
Yeah.
I said that in a very funny voice.
he is our straw man.
I don't know what that is.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
All right, so this is our first podcast. We're here to talk about just how the Genesis Project came about, personal experiences about why we would each be there, except in Asmot's case, or the
I'm
hunter.
coming. Magic. But no, yeah, we have so much charisma. As you can see, we are so upbeat and ready.
I don't know why he's talking like we were having a conversation prior to this to like prep us, and he was so excited, and now he's just here like this, and I
Yeah.
think it's the pressure getting to him, and
Probably. But
You like, don't say probably. This is what you're doing.
we're also going to explain the idea behind the site. And you can't tell from the sound of my voice, but I am super duper pooper scooper excited.
you sound very sarcastic right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You sound like you hate the world. Like, what are you doing?
All right, so I'm just gonna dive right into it. The Genesis Project is a story site. It's got I like to call it a true story system that is based off of my original fiction, my canon, with a lot of my characters. I also, when I made some of the worlds of the site, went through and scavenged a bunch of the old forums I had been on or had some meaningful interaction with that had died, and I picked their bones, made worlds out of them.
Okay.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, the site exists basically to be an area for storytellers and writers to gather and work together and collaborate to create a really awesome overarching narrative out of a bunch of little ones. Like, you might have just a couple people here and there making a little plot thread that somehow manages to twist together. It's just...
So what he's saying, for those of you who don't understand that he's being a douche but trying to be nice about it, you can all be unimportant and he will make you as important as he can because you all suck. That's what he wanted to say. Like, go on.
All right.
I really doubt he was trying to say that.
Yeah.
I'm already trying to start a rebellion and become the owner of this site. So I'm sowing seeds of rebellion.
I'm glad to know that's what you're doing.
You're welcome.
All right.
Yo, I thought we agreed phones off. This is really professional, guys.
Christ, 2 minutes. It's funny.
No, okay.
Like before, we had like a 20-minute preface, and this didn't happen. Like it's like his friends know, like, oh, we can ruin his life now.
Yeah, no, pretty much. It's like right now is the perfect time. But okay, let me just.
Anyway, how about we smooth this into more natural conversation, because you do seem very awkward, and Asma and I actually have some chemistry here.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna talk about
Hold on. As someone who has not really been on the site, okay, even though I had a little preface about what it is, I want an in-depth explanation of what the fuck is going on, because there's a lot of shit that I have no idea what the words mean, and there's this big long lore, and
right,
okay,
so you want the basic.
you want to explain to someone, and you only have a minute, maybe two, to explain to someone the entirety of the site. Don't just try to talk fast, all right? Try to be brief but concise.
All right, brief but concise.
Go.
Okay, so basically the site is about it's not about the Dread God King. It's about the omniverse in which these gods and characters exist. and basically just their interactions within it. The story is wide and varied, but the backstory is that Cain wasn't a god. He became a god after interacting directly with the core. And along with his friend Ryu, they basically tamed the other gods and banished a whole sect of them into a part of the Omniverse that was called the Black, where they will never come out from. And from this position of power, they started to organize the Omniverse, get it in order, while on a dimensional scale, a bunch of little events were happening. Someone tried to replicate Cain's power. Another person kind of set off a dimensional apocalypse on total accident, which resulted in the creation of Sin Eaters and the kidnapping of a Tether named Sarah. And a Tether is a person who helps keep the Omniverse stable. The Tether basically became a really powerful being, cast a curse on the god Ryu's descendant Jericho. Jericho ended up destroying 2 billion sparks, which are basically the equivalent of souls. Our site picks up a month after that catastrophe. Where,
how old is our universe?
How old is the universe? The exact age is not given. It's implied to be around 27 billion years in a conversation that I had recently.
Nice.
Oh, and the best part about the site and its lore is that you actually don't have to know or read anything yet.
Yes,
Like,
you don't have.
I'm sorry, I wasn't talking or anything. That's cool.
Now I'm getting excited. Go.
Anyway, well, the best part about it is that you don't actually have to know or read anything right away. You could just make a character jump in and have them be a character who doesn't know anything, and it'll work within the story. And you can just slowly read and understand things at your own pace or when you need to, because it is so vast. And in itself, you can just create a universe and just shove it in there.
I cannot do that.
Well,
for obvious reasons, I cannot do that.
Well, think about it like this. If on this site you make a character who's like, this is my history, I have interactions with these beings, that's what your character believes. Like, your character can believe this and that, and they can have their religion and their idols and gods, and that will not interfere with the great backstory of the universe, because it may or may not be true.
Oh.
Like, let's say the Kingdom Hearts universe existed in my Omniverse. Let's just say it did. Sin Energy would be darkness. Heartless would be very close to Sin Eaters. Like, they would be just an evolution of Sin Eaters, basically. And it just kind of fits in. It's just people misunderstood what it is because they are in that dimension, and this is how things are called. This is how they've always been called. They didn't have access to any of the information of the gods.
Right.
Like, that's basically how it would work. You basically, to explain how the universe works in our lore, even if you don't know you're doing it, you give names to other things. We've tried our best to cover everything we can. Like, even ghosts have a very passing explanation in one of our lore topics.
No, I'm just trying to think, because, like, I have to put a lot of fucking thought into things now. Like,
well, the best part about it is you can just ask Blue anything, because he literally just speaks to everyone on site about any idea they have and finds a way to make it work.
Right. I don't want to see.
I'm just gonna link my history. I'm just gonna link the fucking the site history. Like, click find me.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a dick.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to cut you off, but basically,
that's cool. Go.
I saw a lot of people with a lot of good ideas at one point they wanted to do all of these things, and they kept getting turned away, and that really bothered me, because I'm sitting here going, what if that person had managed to do that? What would have happened? What would their character have done? What stories would they have told? And it just kind of bothered me that I never got to find out. And so
I can understand that.
It's like, and with everything that happened on Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, shots.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go into depth about it. But with everything that happened on Kingdom Hearts, the site, like, I had already started making it before because of bitter experiences, but after the last time I was there, I kind of underwent a bit of an evolution, and I realized that I had already known, but it kind of was proven to me that my site is not mine, it's everybody's. Everyone who logs onto my site and contributes it's where they go. It's where they write. It's basically, it's like Kingdom Hearts was to me in the beginning. It's a second home. There are people there you like. You have your creations there. You put your life into it in a way. I want to cultivate an environment where people can do that.
That's probably the best, like, cause okay, the KH site, tried to move to a story system for this and this, but the way they did it is they still restricted it to the canon, so it became really hard for anybody to do anything because of what we were defined by. Like, not to focus completely on the site, but that's just what I come from. That's basically all my RP experiences from that site. Except for things here and there where I just go in, destroy the site, etc. And this is the only instance besides the other site that you went on first. What is that called? Was that the Genesis?
Oh.
Valkyrie was the first site.
Valkyrie, that's what it's right. That's right. It's actually, it's not. Was that not Valkyrie? Like, I thought it was trying to be like
Valkyrie.
fun.
Not Valkyrie, Valkyrie.
Okay, Valkyrie. That's the only other instance I've seen where it actually works. Because everybody else tries to define it in so many ways that it just is shit.
Well, I mean, looking at a story system, that's what it is. It's the easiest it's the easiest thing to implement and the easiest thing to mess up. When you have a story system, you have to have lore. Lore has to be your rule. If you start going, well, this and this and this outside of that, if you have all these rules on the outside restricting what you can do, then it's not a story system. You're starting to put a kind of structure that doesn't belong.
Yeah, what happens is that essentially because of the old, this is something that I personally had huge issues with when I was on staff with KH, like originally. There's these stigmas from the previous people who owned the site and how it's run and how you grew up in it, and you think you have to follow it because you think that's how the site is built and that's how it works, but the site is meant to grow and change and whatnot. For example, I found myself defending a lot of things I didn't believe in during the approval system because I was following the examples of the previous people in charge.
Right.
And unlike the real life, which is what I was trying to treat it as, I was treating myself as a politician within it and trying to justify the laws we had. Like, it took me a while to realize, no, we could just do something better. So the issue with the current story site is that they have all these stigmas and they refuse to let go of them because they still see themselves as these professional politicians and whatnot, opposed to, within, I'm basing this on America because I'm American. So, yeah. But they're basing themselves as these politicians who are inherently fucking up the country because they're not treating it as a service. So by following in their footsteps, we create a site that's similar to a mini America where it's just fucked up everywhere.
Right. And, like, behind the scenes, it's just basically Kingdom Hearts story shift happened, like, right after I joined Valkyrie, because then I started showing people, I was like, look at this.
Yeah, no, like, me and Joe were like, hey, we're doing this now. And Yim was like, no, let's not. And we were like, no, we are.
Yeah.
And then it happened.
There was a lot of ugliness that happened with that, too.
Ooh, a lot.
Like, they had to fight for that. Like, not the whole site. I'm not going to say the whole site because there are people who know. They weren't certain of it. They wanted to know more, or they just were outright against it for personal reasons. But the grand majority of the site supported a shift to the story system. Now, the problem was, Joe, can I speak? Do you think it'd be appropriate to speak on what happened behind the scenes?
I don't see why not. I mean, it's not a big, it's only a big deal if people make it a big deal, and I'm pretty sure people don't care that much about it, and if they do, then it's just kind of immaturity showing. So.
Yeah, alright. Basically, what happened behind the scenes was Joe, or Sloth, Asmot.
Call me Joe, don't worry.
Yeah. Sloth, Asmot, and another admin, Shiru, had gone to Yima and said, look, the members really want this change. And Yima told them no. And I'm not entirely sure what his reasoning was for the initial no. I don't know if it was his same reasoning throughout the whole thing. But he denied them enough that basically staff told him that if he didn't change the site, he'd be doing the original site without them, which would have been extremely difficult. Like, given how it worked.
So essentially what happened is Shiru and I were extremely unhappy with how the site was because we were defending things we didn't agree with. Oh, me?
Yeah, you cut out.
Alright, so I'll start from the beginning. Shiru and I were extremely unhappy with how the site was going because we had to defend things we weren't happy about, and then we saw Valucray. But the only issue that we had with Valucray was it wasn't our home. We didn't grow up there. So we wanted to make our place somewhere that had that community of supportive people, you know, that was fun and whatnot.
Except that's not part of your home. That's not where you grew up. It's a good community.
That what?
You grew up in the ghetto of RP sites.
That's not true because KH used to be actually very popular on the old thing before it got hacked.
Hey, before we do something, Blue, is the god that the hunter fought Ryu? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, with what? Wait, with 1 or 2 U's?
2.
Okay, sweet, I was right. Anyway, so we were unhappy with what it was, so we were going to try to make this shift and see if people wanted to go into that system because we've already had so much drama with not allowing abilities, things getting abused, etc., etc. So our idea is, okay, we'll switch over, and then we'll make it so we teach the members how to behave and control themselves. Wait, what's going on? Oh, your dog.
Yeah, he's yappy. A little bit.
Okay, anyway, I'm going to speak while he's gone, and then...
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Oh, okay, so anyway, the idea is...
Murder your dog? You're like, oh, he's yapping 1 second. And literally 1 second later you came back. What did you do?
Oh, you have no idea.
What? Okay, anyway.
No, well, essentially, the whole thing is that we're trying to put all these red lines on what people can or cannot do to abuse things, and eventually it's going to get to the point where we can't do anything creative at all because it can get easily abused. So what Shiru and I wanted to do was, hey, we'll teach people how to moderate each other and essentially have respect for each other and stop making it so they just abuse things to win or to accomplish their goals. We don't want to make this a place where people are against each other but work together to have fun, because that's always been a huge thing on the site where people work against each other or with each other in groups to take down another group or something. And it's never a healthy environment. It's always been a very bad environment for the people who get really caught up in everyone, you know, who knows about everything.
Right. It's not even a competitive environment at that point. It's just caustic.
Yeah, it was just legitimately the site was toxic for a while, which is why we've had so many people leave, and no matter how many new members we join, they don't stay, or they do stay, and then they become the next members who want to leave because they're like, oh, this place isn't fun anymore, it's a burden. So we want to change that, but then we switch to the story system, and then we still have these arbitrary lines drawn because of the old system, which doesn't make sense. And like, oh, it can be easily abused, and I'm like, well, you should teach them how to not abuse things, opposed to just drawing the lines. What makes it different from the old system, other than just less lines drawn? There's still that overlying cap of us not trusting the members. And in a story system, you need to either trust the members or you don't. Either make a system where you don't trust the members and you give them something so that they can just go off and do their own thing, or you put in the effort to teach them so that way there's a bunch of members that know what they're doing and teach each other. The issue is we don't have a supportive, we don't have the staff members who know enough what they're doing or have the time or even give other members the opportunity to learn how to do these things. Okay. So it's just a big chaotic clusterfuck where we act like it's the old system, but now it's essentially saying, hey, it's the old system, but you're allowed to godmod and abuse the rules, etc., as long as you don't get caught.
Literally. Okay. Right. If we're going to compare the countries again, okay, I imagine Genesis is like New Zealand. It's not very known like New Zealand is, but it's very nice. It has a low population, but everything's good. Like they don't allow bullshit. And KH is like China. They have the masses. Even now, they're actually losing that. They have, because they have tons of fucking traffic go through there,
Yeah.
But they don't have the education. Like, all they have is their meat shields walking around. They don't have.
I don't know. I think China's like they're very inhumane, which is getting a little political for a second. But I see it more. I see it more as America because it's one of those things where it's like, we just fuck everyone at the bottom over, even if it's not intentional on KH's part, because we see it as we have to control this.
No, okay, in fairness, that's what we did in the old. Every system we've had, that's what we've done.
Yeah, because that's the
Like,
issue though.
you actually taught me, and you kept me safe until I was enough to like fend for myself and knew how to break the system in the old system.
Yeah, the thing was, like, it even got to a point where I was like, oh, I would teach people how to use the system, and then Yima would be like, oh, why do people always try to go for so much? Just get
Because
what you want. And it's like, but that's part of having a system. You
like,
get what
Yima
you
was
want.
the only one who understood how that worked.
Yo, he is.
He's still the only one, apparently.
The issue is because he knew what he wanted. The reason I thought I didn't understand the system fully when I joined was because I didn't know. I thought there was a predefined thing. But even his opinion and people like Lenny who were on the old staff have vastly different opinions. So it's just like it's a consensus thing about how the system works. So
What the fuck?
There are two Blazes in this call.
Yeah, like I exited to rejoin the call, and then I noticed because my thing came back on, and I was like, what the fuck?
Well, that's weird.
Hey, hold on.
Y'all have 2 seconds of like my side face. I think, I don't know.
Can we?
I'm
Oh,
okay.
sweet.
Okay. That's like no.
All right. We've had so many interruptions, but it's okay because I've been ranting a bit too much. So I'll let you guys speak.
All right.
The hunter's like, this is literally the hunter's fucking history. It's like, Hunter is this. He did this important. If this is known to the public. If you want to know more about him, please read the site lore.
Right. That's why Kane doesn't have a history, because Kane's history is the site lore.
I just wanted to be courteous.
Yeah.
Give these niggas a little something.
But I'm so excited over everything that's been happening on the site. In the past couple of days, our activity has just boomed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, is that new?
No, that's very new.
That's within the last few days. Like,
Oh, nice.
we just kind of, for the last 3 months, we just kind of sat around and, we piddled at stuff, added new things. Nothing was really happening. And then all of a sudden, there's this huge influx. Because a lot of our more creative members on site, they don't do anything. They show up every day, but, they don't pressure themselves to do anything, which is fine. I'm great with that. But it makes it look like we're not doing anything.
All right.
And then all of a sudden, we have these other members come in. We got Pinky Rose. She doesn't show up often, and it looks like the last time she showed up, she was just kind of looking through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really excited for when Pinky finally decides to join the community. Like, I have high hopes for her.
Yeah, no, she's definitely. Pinky gets a bad rap for the things she used to do, and honestly, we all do silly things in our youth. I think this as a 17-year-old as of yesterday, but something that people really don't give Pinky credit for is, for one, even though she wrote a lot. Like, she was very dedicated to
Well, not even just that. She wrote a lot, but she wrote well and did it creatively too.
Yeah, you're right. Very few of her posts were padding. If you read her posts, you took a lot out of it. There was a lot of detail you could work off of when you wrote.
But something that, in retrospect, I think, there are 2 reasons that people really didn't like Pinky. Well, 3 technically, but I don't really focus on the 3rd one because that's just people being biased after a certain point of not liking her for the first 2. And it's really from a writer's standpoint. And it's only for the petty people who are on staff. 1, they weren't good writers. No shots being fired, but people who weren't exceptionally, well, I don't know how to say well-spoken, but who weren't very literate, like, maybe Riku, on staff. I know he wasn't the best writer. They either, and this is a subsidiary of number 1. They either didn't understand what she was writing because they couldn't understand it. 2, felt bad because they didn't understand it. Or 3, they just didn't read it. So they innately did not like her.
Right.
People who were 2, because no one was on par with her. Honestly, there's still no one on par with her on site.
Right, I agree.
Yuki's pretty good. Yuki does more with less words.
Yuki and Ori were really good when they get going.
Yeah. But number 2 is people who were, more well-written, still had some, error. Like, I believe Terra Dagger was, he was an oldie, and I believe he was pretty good.
Let's not talk about Terra.
Anyway, I'm gonna just explain one thing. Yeah, don't say Okay, and the reason they didn't like Pinky is because an inferiority complex. That's my personal opinion, that It was either an inferiority. It was both inferiority complexes, but one was because they felt stupid, and one was because they felt that they weren't good enough. And I think that's the reason most people put shit on Pinky.
See, a lot of going to the Riku thing particularly back then, it was less. They didn't even need a reason. Essentially, if you were in their group, they were cool with you. If you're not part of their group, they innately don't like you and they abuse you. That was a huge issue.
It was like High School Mean Girls.
Don't bring that up because I haven't seen it yet.
What? It was fucking okay. It was my birthday yesterday, and I watched Mean Girls because it was the 10th anniversary yesterday. You're tacky, and I hate you.
Well, I don't get that reference.
You knew it's a reference though.
I'm assuming I could be wrong. Anyway, the thing is like,
you're right.
I don't understand why people have such issues with like each other in general because all you have to do is have a conversation with someone and realize they're not that much different.
This is my thing. This is the biggest thing. Somebody told me that they had a problem with Pinky because they're like she's a liar in real life, and you want to know
what?
That's
hold up.
I was like, that is the dumbest
I've heard in my goddamn life. That is the dumbest fucking sentence I've heard in my goddamn life.
Like, who cares if she lies in real life? Let's just say she does. Let's say she comes to me one day and says something severe like, "Oh, my granddad's dead," and she's lying to me. I don't give a shit. I'll still tell her my condolences.
Yo, no. That is the.
That's
fuck the fucking circumstance. Act like he who cast the first stone. That's starting to piss me off a little bit.
Yeah.
No, we're not saints.
People just essentially
assholes.
people.
What the fuck? Probably niggas on this goddamn site probably don't even shower like regularly. Like people fucking judge you all the time. I bet people don't judge me because I'm fucking Blake Swartzy. But I don't know. It pisses me off because like I used to judge people a lot, and I know y'all fucking get judged. Everybody gets judged. Everybody judges people, and I fucking hate that. Like. Who the fuck are you to tell someone they're this, or this? Like, y'all are fucking terrible people. Whoever fucking said that, I don't like you.
Well, the thing is, it's just one of those things where people like, oh, this is the stigma the person had, but I'm not gonna speak to them myself, and it's just one of those things where it's like,
right,
I don't know, like legitimately throughout the years, I've never. I mean, obviously there are people I can talk to more easily than others, but that's just due to like common grounds, whatever. I haven't met someone I actually dislike on the site.
Right, like as far as I can tell, the only problems that people have had with Pinky, she's very blunt. Like she just is outright blunt, which is.
So are you though? Like, to be fair.
Like yeah.
You're like the bluntest person I know. Like,
yeah.
Yuma, you're retarded. Like, quote.
But
man.
Here's the other thing. The reason she got banned, something to my understanding, she got banned because of her brother getting banned. And my whole question is, why did anybody have to get banned in the first place? Why didn't you just talk to these people?
Yeah. Staff is still petty.
Well, they were talked for stuff, but it's just a lot. It was a lot of drama and stupid stuff and defending of systems and a lot of ideologies that, like, personally, because I was involved with it all, legitimately, I had a really hard time on both sides of the fence because it was just like
you saw their point, but you saw.
I understood their point, and I didn't like the system we were in, but I felt an obligation to uphold a system because I thought it was my responsibility as owner to do that.
Right.
Well,
so
honestly,
I just realized
you were a better owner than Yima is now.
So, guys, just for those of you listening to this podcast, we are talking about basically how our passing right now, because I just realized they might have no idea fucking what idea we're talking about. We're talking about how sites suck and what we come from. Like, they started from the bottom, now we're here. And, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that y'all, like, they're, I don't know, because...
Well, essentially, here's what we do.
I know you know what I'm trying to say, just say it. Like.
Alright, yeah. We're essentially addressing our past experiences and, summarizing why we came here and why we enjoy this site and why, despite whatever pasts we might have with other people, how this is a more open-armed site. Because we understand that a lot of the time issues came from systems or things we didn't necessarily have to, necessarily agree with, but we had to defend anyway, or we had issues with other people, and because certain positions, sometimes we just had to take the quote-unquote loss because it's not how the system works, even though there's no justifiable reason.
Right.
So we're just speaking about, like, this site is inherently different, meant to come together for collaborative stuff, and we're just using our past experience as an example to show you that things are messed up on other sites and that sometimes there is no easy fix, and we're just trying to prevent that environment by making it a friendlier place that supports each other.
Right. And that's... Keep going.
I just wanted to apologize for me being inarticulate. I'm not sure. I think I'm having a minor stroke right now. I usually don't stutter this much. So
If you're
if I
listening to too much Dan Harmon.
that's me, my head hitting the desk as I convulse. Yeah, I just wanted to apologize. Go ahead.
All right. There's actually kind of an interesting story behind how this whole story for the site came around. It's kind of funny is that I still needed Kingdom Hearts to do it. Because I had already written the story about Kain and a few other things like Paragon, Sean. I had written all that stuff before Kingdom Hearts, but Alexander kind of helped me tie it all together. I don't think systems are bad. Let me tell you that. I don't think story system is the thing that is supreme in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that there are some systems that may be better, and I would love to see a website. I wouldn't leave my site or change my site because of that, but I would love to see a website that actually had an excellent amount of story and combat integration. But the whole point out of the site was a form of freedom for people who needed it.
All right.
Yeah, and just to elaborate on that, because I understand what you're trying to say, but I'd like to make it a little bit more succinct for people. Essentially, He's not saying that his system is the best. He just enjoys the story system, and he likes to implement it the way it should be implemented, because a lot of the systems that we've dealt with in the past have been implemented poorly, and because of that, the faulty systems have been cause of the issues on the site, which only may, enhance this negativity, among the community and towards each other. So he's just trying to prevent that by implementing a system, correctly in a way that's meant to support the community. And if you guys know any other systems, he's not trying to downplay any of them. This is just a preference of his, and he'd actually, embrace anything you guys would like to show him, because it's all about experience.
Right.
So something I'd like to move on to, because right now we're talking about a lot more, not even theoretical stuff, but we're talking about like things like reasonings behind certain things, our past experiences. I kind of want to talk about the site now, if that's okay, if you want to move on to that, if y'all don't have anything you want to say.
Yeah, we'll talk about how staff actually, it evolved from how it originally was.
All right, awesome. Because I want to know more about the site, because for those of you listening who don't know, I don't know shit. So
to be fair, I know very little myself because I've admittedly been busy doing other things. And so now that I actually have more time to do things, I can hopefully invest and actually learn and interact with people more.
I seem to have gotten over my stroke. I can pronounce words again. Semi-articulity, if that's a word. Anyway.
Nope.
Lost it. All right, go ahead, Blue.
All right. So what do you want to know about the site?
I just want to know like basic terms that I've heard like a little bit. Like I know what a pocket universe is, but I want that explained. Things.
So actually,
Void, I don't know what that is.
The universes and dimensions are completely different. So I guess I could start just how the structure of it is.
Yes, structure of the universe. Start when you're defining a house. Start with how it's built. Awesome.
Okay. So the whole Omniverse. It is basically layered. There are dimensions, which within a dimension you have virtually infinite galaxies with solar systems and planets inside of them. And there are like 3 different kinds of dimensions. There's a dead dimension where basically it's just formless energy, just a sea of chaos. You've got a living dimension where the energy is basically been changed into matter. It's a physical universe. Things can live there that have corporeal form. And a pocket dimension is created by beings of enough power. It's usually limited to the size of a planet, and it exists outside the normal rules of the Omniverse. Now, above that, you have universes. Universes are basically clusters of dimensions.
Okay.
So, within a universe, that's really all it is, clusters of dimensions. There's only one universe that is not, like there are no dead universes like there would be a dead dimension. The only one that comes close is a universe called the Black, and I'll get to that one later.
Okay.
So after you have your universes, you have the multiverse, which is another, again, an infinite number of these, which are just out of a region of bound together universes which are related somehow into a single multiverse. And then overspanning all of this is the omniverse, which is the place that our site takes place in. That's basically structure.
Uh-huh. Did he cut out or did I draw?
No, that's just the structure.
Oh, okay.
Next
I
question.
thought you cut out too or something. Sorry.
Okay.
Next question.
So, that's the structure of the universe. Now, there are terms I've, like, I know what Sin Eaters are, this and this. It makes me think, what kind of, like, how vast is your site? Like, how many, universes / dimensions does it go into? Because I know there's pocket universes, this and this.
Currently, it only goes into, I want to say, 7 sites with 7 different areas, and they're usually contained to either a planet or a solar system.
All right.
There's potential for more, and members can actually make other dimensions with planets. And
Cause this is what I was wondering about. This is a pocket universe. I'm assuming is what you're talking about.
though they can make other worlds or pocket universes.
Okay, the other worlds thing, does that mean they can make a world, like their character literally in character makes a world, or they can say, hey, I want this world, I want to define it like this, and this?
They can say they want this world and can define it like this is this, because the way the lore is written, the dimensions are already created and set in stone.
Alright.
Ones that a member out of character creates would basically, unless it was a pocket dimension, have already existed, but they just defined what it was.
So they couldn't be like, I'm the god of this world, etc., etc.
They could, if basically, my whole thing with that is if they make a world, again, there is basically an unlimited amount of profiles that you can have on my site, but the only thing I'll really enforce on that is if you have a pocket, if you've made your own world and you want to enforce all the stuff over it, you need a separate profile for the god character of that world.
Alright.
Because
so, this leads me, I understand that, no reason to go more into that because we want to keep this brief and we want to just go this on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, pocket universes, because I've heard that term, this is kind of what made me want to join the site because someone told me I could make a pocket universe and enforce certain rules. And I want to know, 1, is that exclusive to certain characters? 2, what are the rules to that? And 3, no, actually this shows 2 things. The third thing is secret, selfish.
It's no, it's not exclusive to certain characters. If the character in question on site has significant enough power or resources to do that, then they can create a pocket dimension, and you could make a character that makes the dimension, or you can make the dimension and the character with each other. And there are no real rules on how that functions. If you make a pocket unit, the only thing you have to go through is when you make a world, you have to put it up in the suggestions form. And basically everybody on site, not necessarily everybody, but people will come to your forum, your topic, and they'll ask you questions, and they'll basically make you flesh out your world. They'll basically ask you questions, see if they can poke too many holes in it, and see if you can flesh out your world.
Okay.
And then the community is like, yeah, cool, we like this. Then I'll create your forum, and you get to populate it with your lore and your timeline.
Because I know what the Hunter's pocket universe is going to be. That was the third thing I was going to address. Pocket universes have their own rules. Can they bestow abilities? Like,
Yes.
like Superman's son, or the fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, okay. A pocket universe literally functions as its creator sees fit. The creator of the universe has something called priority. When they're in that universe, they use that priority to define its function.
Nice.
It's basically what Kane and Ryu and the 3 fundamental entities have over the rest of the Omniverse.
Mm-hmm.
The pocket dimensions are not part of the Omniverse. They are located within separate.
Just now, because you're saying, what's the opposite of freedom? The ability keyword freedom?
There is not an opposite
You
ability.
were saying like when you fight a god, they have freedom, but there's also absolution or something like that.
Basically, there are states of being that gods possess called absolute existence and absolute will.
Absolute will, I believe what it was. All right, awesome.
Absolute will cannot override freedom in any circumstance.
All right, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to make my Hunter universe take away absolute existence and absolute will. Like,
You can't exactly do that, and gods already lose abilities when they go into pocket dimensions.
okay, because I like basically what I wanted to make my universe like I take gods there to where they're weak enough so I can kill them. Like,
Well, killing a god would be difficult, but in any case, like I can give you an example of we can also have aspects of entities on site. So in this specific instance, one of our members, Ray, when he just joined, wanted to fight an aspect of death, but he wanted to do it in a way that he could beat it or win or tie it.
mm-hmm.
So basically, I explained to him the only way that would be feasible was if he had gotten the aspect and goaded it into a pocket dimension. Because when a entity that is part of the Omniverse enters a place like a pocket dimension, they lose a lot of their abilities and a lot of their power.
So what does killing an aspect of an entity or a god entail? Does it weaken the actual god?
No. Aspects are completely separate. They are basically manifestations of the god's power that occur either on purpose or at random.
Mm-hmm.
But the gods themselves or the entity or any of the fundamental entities are not affected by the death of an aspect.
Do they only appear as aspects, or can they appear in their godly form?
They can appear in their godly forms, and aspects are usually separate beings altogether.
Okay, so what is the purpose of aspects? If they appear through a god's, will, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why would they do that instead of doing it themselves? You know what I'm saying? If they
Well, because a lot of the aspects, again, they have a very small connection to the god. They're still individuals gifted with an aspect of death. Like, okay, let's say the Collector.
Mm-hmm.
Death himself, he is everywhere, but not all of the time.
Right.
And the reasons for this vary from usually the fundamental entities will focus on if there is a trial of the gods, which happens more often than it's hinted at. But basically, if a god fucks up, death, eternity, and fate take them to trial. And when trials happen, they're focused there. So the aspects, because there are a lot of them, will go through the various pocket dimensions and universes and dimensions, and they will basically do their jobs. When eternity is away, her aspects keep the cycle of reincarnation pushing out sparks. When death is away, his aspects go out and collect sparks to take back to the cycle. Fate's aspects work a little differently, because Fate is always connected and watching. She is the being of possibility, and she doesn't see the future. She sees all of the futures.
Oh God.
But there are catches to that. If let's say you have freedom, you can't see your future, and if you have freedom and you're interacting with people who don't have freedom, their fate becomes clouded to her because you become a wild card in that situation. And you can't effectively change their destiny.
So I'm like, for those of you who've seen Supernatural, I'm Sam and Dean Winchester. Nobody's gonna understand that reference either because I realize that both of you probably have not seen that.
I haven't seen that.
What it is.
Basically in the show, they're like angels, demons, blah blah blah. The apocalypse is gonna start, and like Destiny had done this and this. The three fates had foreseen all this, and then like Lucifer had possessed somebody, and then because they have the ability freedom for because they ascend from Cain and Abel, just their bloodlines do, which also allows them to be possessed by Lucifer and other angels that can normally not possess people. Anyway, so when he was possessed, he just said no and jumped into hell, like where Lucifer used to be, and they were like, oh, how did he do that? Like, when God had, that's why, it was basically a thing like, oh, Adam and Eve had freedom to eat the apple and blah 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 blah, and sin usually clouds that. I don't know. This is the whole thing that you have to really read into because it's not really explained in the show.
Right, but now you also, if you want to know why aspects are actually a thing, very few of them were created on purpose. A lot of times,
it's just like because of the chaotic nature of a god or powerful entity, right, they just spawn these things as like like when you have like this big like when they generate electricity, in a huge generator, sparks will just randomly fucking fly out, just because they can't contain it all if they're for maximum efficiency.
Yar, that's basically it. Because yes, gods do actually have really good control over their power. But they have so much of it that it leaks through their fingers. It just happens to do that. Like if Death himself, let's say, arrives in a place that has just been through a type of horrible genocide, there can be people who are affected by that power, and they will either become aspects or give birth to aspects, and they'll never know. Like normal people might be walking around, and they might be an aspect of Death. There may be a way that they embrace that power, and there may not be a way.
So Ray might be joining the podcast if he can get, the add-on and stuff.
I'd be fine with that.
Is Ray someone I know or no?
No, Ray is on site. He was he's Artless's brother.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated on that. That's why.
Very enthusiastic member.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I actually have him quoted in my signature, and I'm actually going on his little thing where if I'm in a chat box and one of my members says something that really strikes me as being kind of the spirit of our site, I want it in my signature. Like Ray said, I really just want to help. Let me see if I can find it. I have the exact quote on site, obviously. So I gotta go to my profile.
Oh, whoopsie. Control.
Don't take so long to load, bro. Okay. Signature. Okay,
anyway.
What is it? Why is it? Oh, okay. He basically said something along the lines of he wanted his creations to be somebody's masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason he was talking about that is he had a suggestion talking up about if he either pre-made characters for people or helped people make their characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm personally not a fan of making characters for other people, but I don't want to forbid it because I understand that there are a lot of interesting scenarios that come with it. Like, what if, as a bit of a writing challenge, you two made characters for one another that were completely outside of your comfort zones and then tried to roleplay them doing something?
That's pretty cool, in my opinion.
And it would also be an interesting creative challenge for people who are making characters and needed more experience to do that. Like, it would be... Because if you create a character for somebody, it's different than if you create a character for yourself. Because if you leave out details, they're still in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't fully flesh out that personality, that's fine. Because it's your character and you can go, well, whatever, and justify how it's
my fucking asshole.
What?
Sorry. Damn it! Yo, change the... Damn it! Yo, change your fucking thing so the site is not completely black, so when I write something in black, I can't see it. I just got really scared that everything I wrote was lost. Like I put the preview, and all the words blended into the background. Like,
what's black right now?
Here's what.
Oh, whoopsie.
There's a certain thing to push.
Up. Okay, I need help. I need help, guys.
What's wrong with it right now?
You need to hit the BBC code thing.
Oh,
Talk
yeah.
about the Ander thing too, because I really think that'd be a good thing to touch upon why that went down.
You're right. My bad. You got me. You got me. Thank you, Blue.
All right, so we can talk about, if you have any more questions, ask them.
Now I just how to travel in between the universes work.
All right, so your average everyday character won't necessarily be able to travel between the universes. You can't, like, if you make just a normal character who lives in their realm, the act of breaching, which is traveling from one dimension to another through a portal, would be a little bit beyond them. It's really difficult to create a breach. You have to be quite a powerful being to do it. There are some beings that don't breach, though. They travel directly through the void. These beings are usually not mortals. In fact, with Solomon's recent arrival, with his history, I incorporated it into our timeline. Only 2 mortal beings have ever gone into the void and returned. The reason behind this is, in the void, again, it's total non-existence. There is nothing that a mortal shell recognizes in the void. And usually a person who goes into the void suffers from void shock. And within a 20-second time span, they usually pass out. And then they disappear forever. There's something else that happens in the void. And whenever there's a being in a void, they're never unaware of themselves. This is because of the Schrodinger effect. In the void, if you lose awareness of your existence for less than a second, you're gone. You never existed. If you have especially if you're immortal, especially because of void shock, you're extremely susceptible to that. The only reason Solomon and the other were able to do so were because they had such severe willpower. Like, it was beyond normal. It was basically, they may as well have been alphas of their species for the willpower they displayed.
Alright. Yo, I'm just gonna say that I'm going to do it anyway. Like, I'm just gonna use freedom. Like, oh, I'm fine. Like, I don't disappear.
Well, that's what freedom does for you.
Yeah, I'm just because.
No, I mean literally.
Yeah.
Freedom has another effect.
Ooh. Tell me more about how awesome my character is.
Basically, freedom lets you set your own destiny.
Oh, sweet.
The catch is that you have to be of a certain state of mind, which usually means you have to be able to coherently think about it to set it. And then after that, you don't have to acknowledge it because now that's your destiny.
Woo.
You still have to fulfill it and make it happen, but
yeah. But then if I do that, can't people see my fate then?
No.
Oh, okay, then okay.
Because your fate is still separate from everything else.
I'm very scared now, because I'm very scared of, like, you throwing NPCs at me to kill me.
No.
Because I imagine that you're like Yema. You're like a very bad, very good, but evil DM. Like,
not really. The only thing that happened was with the Ander topic, and I'll get to that. But basically, you're fine. Like, I'm going to tell you basically how freedom works. Jericho is a really prime example of this. But basically, Jericho wound up, because he was dissident, and because he was the first dissident, he had freedom from the start. And before he lost his mind, like, he saw, the only one who can see your future when you have freedom is you, and the only reason Jericho was able to do that is because he had a very special power, which is, it's very rare. It's not one of a kind, but like people like Buddha had attained it. If you're going by what Buddha had, it literally was enlightenment. It lets you access the omniverse directly.
Ooh.
And using that power, once you set your fate, you can see it. in using this power, you can actually know more than you're supposed to. But with everything that was happening with Jericho, this just helped drive him mad. But before he went insane, he set a destiny that he saw that he was going to become a monster, and he knew that he couldn't stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And he set a destiny that someone would kill him, but it couldn't be just anybody, like some random stranger. So he chose his friend Alexander. So that's why every time Jericho encountered Alexander, never killed him, had so many chances to do it, and would just let him live for some reason. And then there wasn't even a final battle. Jericho just let Alexander kill him.
That's so
And didn't want until he killed him. And then gave Alexander enlightenment.
Oh. So
Which is a problem for Alexander because
Alexander Kane?
Huh?
Is Alexander Kane? Wait a minute. What?
Alexander's
Okay. Cool.
And not the Kingdom Hearts Alexander, though.
Same Alexander, different stuff. Like, not like, from that universe, but same story, different avenue.
In this canon, there can only be one Alexander that does this. There are maybe millions of alternate Alexanders, infinite numbers, truthfully, but only
You know,
one.
look at the side chat real quick. Keep talking.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was busy.
All right, hold on. Let me.
It's just Ray's
Yeah.
email.
I'm adding.
I'll do it. Go ahead. You speak.
Who's adding him?
You have to.
You have to, yeah.
Logan 2.
Don't say it,
Don't
nigga.
say
Damn.
that.
Like, okay.
But I didn't say the whole
Podcast is
thing.
not gonna be received by many people. You never, ever, ever reveal someone fucking like.
I didn't.
Nigga, you pronounce like the first two. The worst first word and first letter, like.
Get out. Good luck figuring out the last 7.
All that.
Wow.
Okay, nice. Wow. 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 Really gave them the algorithm. Like, if someone really hated this guy, like.
They would fucking try to kill him, and I don't.
Fix
But
computers to
so-
find this one
but-
email address, and send them all spam. Like,
All right, I sent him the email. I don't know if he'll be able to. I don't know how it works beyond this. It's up to him now.
you sent him a regular invite, which you should have
Right.
fucking done for me. So all I have to do is go to the little bell.
All right. So, any other questions? Then we'll move on to
I don't
current.
have, like, right now I'm kind of focused on my. Okay, hold on. What are the forces in the universe?
Forces. What do you mean?
Like, okay, like right now I just like randomly clicked on a thing on the side to see if there's anything I wanted to know. I looked at the thing called chaos. Chaos is a fundamental of twisting or breaking of the natural order and laws of the Omniverse. This sounds like a force to me.
Right. So that topic was posted today.
Yeah.
I had never really gone into depth about chaos because I just kind of had it was order and chaos. That was just kind of how I thought about it. But we had a very enterprising member who he wanted his character to be an embodiment of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, we haven't done anything with chaos. Why don't you make a topic about it? So basically, he defined chaos as I would almost call it a liquid concept. I just call it a liquid concept because it's not really there, but it's extremely metaphysical because it is. It's the fundamental force that opposes order, which is what the gods generally enforce. It's not sentient. It just is.
Okay.
How about I think explaining like fate and eternity and etc. and like just the tiers of the gods real quick because I don't know if Asma knows that, but I think
Right.
explaining that would be
So, basically,
useful.
the basic order doctrine is what set the tiers of the gods, which is when Cain and Ryu banded together. Basically, back before there was order, the gods just kind of dicked around in their multiverses, in their universes, and their dimensions, and they took them over randomly from other gods, and they would go to these universes and basically just enjoy being pampered and worshipped. And it really didn't matter to them. Like, they didn't need it, but they were no better than demons or angels. They were just more powerful. So, basically, in this conflict, Cain and Ryu basically tamed the other gods that existed at the time, and there have been new gods that have been created since. But they tamed those gods that existed and banished several of them, called the Dal Nigrdil, to the place called the Black. Now, the general hierarchy of the gods is, at the very top, Cain designed the basic order so that the fundamental entities of the universe as he saw them were at the top. And so he placed the entity Death, Eternity, and Fate above himself and Ryu. And basically, Death is, you can see him as the angry, grieving father of all life in the Omniverse.
Aww.
He's not crazy, he's not a, well, yeah, he's fucking crazy. But he's not like a cult of death or death obsessed. Death, basically, let's say there's been some kind of tragedy, a war, and people have died. Death will go and collect these souls. And as he carries them back to basically limbo, he listens to them, not necessarily verbally, but emotionally and through their memories. And he lives their lives with them, right up until the final end. Death does this for everybody, even his aspects that fairy people do. And there was a topic on site with a conversation where one character wanted to meet Death. And
Yeah, aspect of Death.
The Death's aspect, the collector, told him he wasn't worthy of it because of what he had done. And he was like, everybody I've killed because of my family and for people who have hired me. And the aspect replied, you aren't worthy not because of the lives you've taken, but because you've broken our hearts.
Aww. What an emo little bitch.
And then Eternity is Eternity is called the Mother of Mothers. She gives birth all things in the universe that are incarnated through her and her interactions with the spark of life.
Mm.
Basically, there's a regenerative cycle which her and Death both partake of. When the soul dies, when the person dies, Death collects their spark and takes it to limbo. And as every incarnation of them dies throughout all of existence, Death further collects the sparks, because they're all little pieces of the same soul, puts them together into the mass, and once that's complete, it goes back to the spark of life, where Eternity puts it back into circulation by breaking it into pieces. They do this so they purify and reset them. Remove the impurities, take the memories out, and let them have fresh lives and existence. Eternity's personality is not totally defined yet because I haven't worked with her as much as I have with Death. From what I do know, well, she is fairly timid of Death when he gets angry, but she's also, like, that's really all I have of her is so far she's timid of Death when she gets angry, and she's easily swayed by his opinions. Fate just doesn't care.
Oh, not gonna lie, I kind of spaced out because I was writing something for my profile.
Well, it's in the podcast. If you want to hear it, you can go listen to that.
All right, so Joe, it's been a while since we've heard your voice.
Well, that's because every time I speak, I get.
What do you know about the site?
Well, I know Ray can't join us today, so because he's having some technical difficulties.
Oh.
Oh, Ray.
Anyway, most of what I know about the site is that a couple of the dimensions that were based on websites I've made that have failed. So that's nice. But
Hold on, where is
basically
where's SoTry?
they don't share the same names. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because that one in particular, I still want to use.
Okay, so the story behind the dimensions that aren't mine, the only dimensions that I made, like, fully and totally created was NIST, and Tedranog was made by Twilight. She brought Twilight over from her website, and basically
What in the shit is the Void? Because I've heard stuff about that.
the Void is essentially nothing. It exists outside of and within the Omniverse. Unlike a pocket dimension, beings of power retain their power in it because the Void has no laws of governance.
Mm-hmm.
So beings that have strong enough will gain... Basically, the more self-aware you are in the Void, the more powerful you are, and very few things are more aware of themselves than gods. So basically, your power in the Void's determined by your awareness.
That's funny because that sounds so narcissistic. Like you have to know.
The more egocentric you are.
Basically, Cain is an egotist, but I'm not sure if it's in a detrimental respect. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, Cain is important. He knows that he's important. He's not deluded into thinking he's not humble about it. He just doesn't talk about it because he doesn't need to. He doesn't need you to know that he's important. He's so self-assured that he's important, you'll figure it out by talking to him. He's fucking pretentious.
Oh, yes, he is.
He is old and pretentious.
Blue, not gonna lie, I kind of have you stereotyped in my head. Do you still do the whole, like, super vulgarity thing?
With, Jake?
With your asshole character, because I know you have one.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
He is... Actually, I'm a lot better with him now, because remember I wanted him to be, like, a really good manipulator? Now I'm a really good manipulator with him.
Now I just am.
Like, because now he's basically a psychologist, and he
also makes me want to say something real quick. It reminds me of when, I was new to RP and stuff, because this is going to be like a preface to all the podcasts y'all on the site, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Something that people need to know, if they're going to listen to this, or they're going to be on the site, or any RP site really, this is just good advice, not to be an asshole, but this is just good advice. Don't try to be something, don't try to RP something that you cannot be.
Right.
To be more specific, don't try to be, I'm not saying that y'all are retarded, the people listening to me, not to offend anybody, but that's just how I speak. I'm not saying that y'all are stupid, but I'm saying something that Joe taught me from a very early time, because he taught me how to RP, just basically. I'm still shit, but he taught me my basics. Don't try to be something that you either morally cannot find yourself to be. Like, don't try to be evil if you do not have it in you, because if you do, then you are shit. You are terrible. You're not a believable villain. You don't do anything that people are either scared of or respect. 2, don't try to over-intellectualize yourself. That's saying, if you're not, amazingly manipulative or smart, don't try to be an amazingly manipulative or smart character, because you're limited to your own intelligence.
Right.
And it destroys the atmosphere of an RP when you're, fucking typing. Even the typing illiterate thing isn't, that bad, but if you can't capitalize, fucking, for one, nigga, learn how to use shift. 2, if you're trying to manipulate somebody, but they're obviously, even if your character is supposed to be smarter than that character, because of the way you're doing it, your character comes off as dumb, which breaks your own character, and you don't want that.
Right. And again, that's actually something that's relevant to a discussion I had with Joe, I think, yesterday about Cain.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Cain's supposed to be this nearly omnipotent god of everything. And I guess in other websites, that would mean you just make shit up and type it. I can't do that because I'm interacting with other characters who have their own histories. So I can't know shit that I don't know, so I have to go outside to these characters and start going, so hey, I have a question. I need to ask about this, and this.
The more intelligent you are, the harder it is to RP. I promise you. It is not always cracked up to be.
All right, let me just. All right, so let me clarify, because the way you're saying it is that you're telling people not to get out of their comfort zones. But one, when you feel that you're a good enough writer that you can start tackling things, you're outside of your comfort zone. You should. You shouldn't ever limit yourself because you haven't done it yet, or you don't think you can pull it off.
I'm not.
But what he's saying, I know. But can I finish talking, please? Please. I know what you're saying.
I'm not saying don't go outside your comfort zone. I'm really not.
I know. I wasn't saying you were. I was going to clarify.
Just don't go out of what you are able to do. That's all I'm saying.
Like, all right. So what he's trying to say, which is what I was trying to explain, but he wanted to interrupt, even though I'm going to be reiterating the same thing. Essentially, he's saying when you're new, stick to what you would do. Essentially, you're going to have to be a self-insert at first because that's all you know. When you become a better writer, for example, I can RP someone who would actually kill someone, despite the fact that I personally would be too much of a bitch to do that in real life.
It's true. Like, not that he's a bitch in real life, but like Joe, he has not studied, but like he has tapped into his inner like maniac, and he can create fucking crazy, psychotic characters. But in real life, he cares. He tries to pretend that he doesn't, but he's told multiple times, like, I care about people. I don't want to create them, but...
My whole thing, if you guys, a lot of new role players, I don't feel you guys should be in a hurry to start off with the ultra badass superhero intelligent. This is actually going to be a great segue into the whole Ander and maybe a little discussion of Tyler thing.
That's but Ander and Tyler.
Well, there's a reason for that. Basically, when you make a character and you want them to like, oh, I want to have a super awesome manipulative mastermind, do yourself a favor. If you've never done that before, don't start at the place where you're supposed to already be that badass. Start small. Start like you're literally just starting out, and you can build up to it as you get better and your character get better together.
Also,
way when you bumble
sorry.
Because you're new.
Sorry, you cut out for me. Say that again. Yeah.
Basically, start new. And if you're trying to be a master manipulator or a superhero, when you bumble, it's because you're new.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Too many people try to have this overly self-importance that they can't, do properly because they haven't had the experience yet. So it's not saying that like no, don't people usually take it that if I don't RP as if I'm important, that I'm not important. No, you are. Your journey is extremely important.
Right, and
you have to make sure to not detract from it. I'm sorry, go.
I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just this leads into the whole. You can see what media people are exposed to by the characters they try to be when they first make a character. They not picking on the anime crowd. I like anime myself, but if a person watches a lot of anime, the most frequent kind that makes it over to America is the shonen anime, where it's always high energy, declarations of passion, and just knuckleheaded stunts. Like in most cases, if the main character is not a knucklehead, then the most loved character is a knucklehead. And a lot of the characters you see are either shonen heroes or shonen villains, and that's not bad. I think that they can be interesting characters. Again, even if you watch a show that's shonen and you've seen that character done before, it's interesting to see how that character could react in a different situation with a different background. But when that's all that exists, it gets old. And
yeah.
Let me start with shonen villains, since that's the most relevant.
Fucking shonen hero, shots to KH, like every single fucking character.
We'll get to that, but let's start with shonen villain, because KH really encourages shonen everything, because if you're not going over the top, you're not going to get any respect from anybody. That's just how it is. Unless you're being boisterous and outrageous, nobody really pays attention to you. You have to do big shit. And a lot of people, because they're new, the most obvious route to go is to be the loud guy. Like, the whole... And that sometimes undermines your character's intelligence. You're cutting in and out. I can't. Hello?
What?
What just happened?
Did Joe drop?
I hope not.
No, I'm here. Why?
Oh, because you just super cut out.
Oh, I think it was because I moved my laptop.
Oh. There is nothing that you just said that made it to us.
Well, I was barely saying stuff. I only started, and then you're like, something happened. I stopped because you were still talking because you had cut out for me for a second.
All right, keep going.
All right. Anyway, a lot of the time when people do that kind of thing, where they try to act big and boisterous, that acting of over self-importance actually makes people dislike RPing with you because a lot of people see it as you're trying to focus too much on yourself, opposed to playing the proper antagonist to their story. And a lot of the time when people just, whether it's hero or villain, when you try to big up yourself too much without like the experience or without making the mood fit into what you're doing,
Right.
a lot of people leave with a bad taste in their mouth because it's essentially just you're RPing with someone who only cares about their ego. And even if that isn't necessarily true, because I doubt a lot of the time people are trying to be like, oh, look at me, just be badass. You're just trying to make a character that you like. It just leaves a bad
adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Like the adrenaline rush of the declaration of the fight. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I feel it too. Sometimes when you're just really into it and writing a good fight post, or you're in a really awesome debate with somebody in character, you get a little adrenaline rush. You get excited about it. And a lot of times people just kind of fall into that. And I'm going to shift this to the topic with me and Ander that happened, so we can get onto that because it's kind of relevant. I love Ander to death, and I believe that he can be, once he's like focused, can be one of the most creative members on this site. I've seen it. He's operating on 3 other websites right now, and as far as I know, his characters, while they're probably of the same kind, they're flexible. I can't say that for certain because I've not seen his work, and I don't know that they're totally different. But I know that they're flexible in the applications to settings. But what happens is when you try to force something too hard. In this topic, he tried to force just the typical shonen villain declaration of I'm going to rule you all, blah blah blah, standing on top. I'm standing on top of a tall building, yelling to people that I'm looking for somebody, and I will kill them. And blah, and I'm going to rule this place. And in Kingdom Hearts, he would have gotten away with it. Because everyone is a shonen hero. Like, the people who came to stop him would have not done, they wouldn't have been prepared. Because rather than people seeing how the society reacts to this, they see how their characters react to this. Like, if you just rolled up into and let's say you just rolled up in Hollow Bastion in Radiant Garden and said you were going to kill so-and-so, and you did it for everybody in Radiant Garden to see. Leon, Yuffie, Aerith, Merlin, basically everybody who lived there of some skill level or importance, Cloud, maybe even Sephiroth, depending on what you did, would all show up. They may or may not all fight, but they would try to stop you. But nobody goes that angle because there's still the stigma of, multiple characters and things like that. Well, in Radix, when that happened, the way Radix is it's an interdimensional Magitech city. It's full of people who migrated from other dimensions. They were strong enough and skilled enough to breach from their home into this pocket dimension. It's full of angels, demons, energy beings, elementals, or just super skilled mortals. I guarantee you, Ander is not the first person in this place's history to just show up and try to fuck it up. Which is what happened when he rolled into town with his giant-ass tornado. I was sitting here thinking, I already know that there's a police force that can deal with it, but what would they be? Who would they be? What would they be like? Basically, APAT was born with their now confirmed about 30 or so members. They rolled up on him. While he was doing this, he also had a sniper, because, mercenaries too. This guy didn't have any powers. He just has a really badass sniper rifle. Was about 3 miles away on a roof, and he suddenly these guys are crawling all over him. You've got their standard negation player who's just learn to negate stuff. That's what his whole purpose was. You got the guy that controls concrete, the lightning elemental. You got the guy who does the smoke powers. Well, not really smoke; it's vapor. But you got all these diverse and varied characters, and now they're showing up to fight him. So now it's 3 versus 30, but it's more like 2 because the third member of their party is utterly useless for combat. And it was a very bad situation. And that may not have happened. I feel like if he had prepared it a little bit better, maybe had... Like, I really think that it's basically just the shonen syndrome, which, again, isn't bad, but it wasn't very intelligent because his character didn't know that world.
A lot of the issue too is because on KH, you don't get the luxury of playing that angle because if you go, oh, I'm going to defend this world with NPCs, people will call you out on blah 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 because it's still the old stigmas and the story system isn't actual story system. So you can only use your couple of characters.
Right, and that's ridiculous because my whole thing was I really feel like Ander had the ability, but he never really thought about it. If he had just thought, is there anybody in this city who would take interest in helping Ander or helping him survive this, he could have used that. Like, I'm sure there's someone out of the billions of people in Radix who would have an interest in ensuring Ander's survival. For whatever reason. I mean, obviously not a stupid one. Maybe just to find out who he is. Maybe to perform an experiment on him. Who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. It's just a lot of people they're not used to the system. Like,
right.
And it's it's understandable considering it is a drastic change from what people think a story system is on KH. And the reason we keep bringing that up, by the way, is because right now most of us have been on KH. Actually,
everybody in this podcast and literally 95% of the people on my website have been on KH.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that. That's what I meant, like the KH for like on site.
And my thing with that is, I'm actually at the point where I'm looking through Kingdom Hearts using a proxy and saying, who do I want? Because at this point, I am convinced that website is a sinking ship, and I see these people who have these great ideas, and I'm like, if you come over here, I can encourage this in you. And that would make me very, very thrilled.
Well, the thing about KH is that no matter how far it seems to sink, it always comes back because of those people.
Ooh, Solomon's ready to join. I just need him to give me his Gmail.
Oh, sweet.
I'm about to post up like the first draft of my, which is all it has is brief lore and abilities because I really didn't want to expand anything like that.
Finally, so you can actually contribute again.
Right. Because I wanted to, I'm still editing it from the shit that it was. Literally this whole time I've been trying to think of like ways to. I didn't want to use any like big words, and I didn't want to say, oh, he has like this ability. I just have like 3 paragraphs of like, I don't know. It's been honed to be simple and shitty in a way that is easy to understand. Like, hopefully.
I'll let you know.
Alright. Post. I just edited a post. It's not a new post. Like.
Alright, that's cool. Okay,
I'll just link it in this right here. Did someone join? Or he invited somebody?
Yeah, Solomon's gonna be joining us.
Oh, that nigga.
I love Solomon. He's been really active since he's been here. He's actually.
Are you using? Yeah, you are.
I'm so happy with what he's been doing because he's really asking, what can I do? He's not afraid to go all out.
What am I using, Joe? That picture?
Courier New.
I like Solomon's character just because okay, I'm not even gonna lie. I kind of like how he has this immense power that beings that weren't gods would be like, that's godlike. Because to them it totally is. It's fucking inconceivable.
Solomon?
Yeah.
His power is intense.
Uh-huh.
Like, he is... Like, literally his stats say unlimited.
Oh, do I need stats?
Well, you don't need stats. I don't give a shit.
You don't need anything. Just do you.
Your character might be really malleable. Like I didn't put stats on the collector because I was like, I feel like this is gonna be very situational.
Yeah, he's like he doesn't really use magic. He's a lot more of a physical guy, but he has magical abilities. Like he's more of like he doesn't inherently have like magic that he uses. Because I wanted to make the hunter like actually a physical hunter and stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And like when he uses magic, he uses like traps. Like he creates magic traps, poisons. He'll conjure like allies. He'll create beasts. He'll enchant weapons, or he'll create curses or access his pocket universe. The curses thing being if I can't physically affect somebody with like poisons is basically just a magical poison. Or I can mark. The only thing I really wanted was to mark someone so I could always find them.
Oh my
But
god.
the other thing is he's a learner, like by nature. I didn't put a personality because I didn't want to, not yet.
You don't have to.
He's a learner by nature, so he can learn things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's not necessarily efficient or good at what he does.
You know what? If you want to make a different character template for just simplified characters, you totally can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can make your own stuff on the site. It's not just lore and bestiary and characters. It's if you have a template you think would work better.
No, it's definitely not a template I think would work better. Like,
Well, if you have a template that's more comfortable for you too, feel free to post it. Someone's probably going to use it eventually.
oh
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, I made a character sheet, but it's legitimately just like pictures like that I added.
Yeah. Like Joe's character sheet is fucking beautiful.
There we go. Just so he has in case he wants to use pictures or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, I like how Solomon and Cain just like had their little conversation, and I like the rules thing. The little brief rules where it's like they're not my rules, blah blah, and then Cain's like they're mine and I'll enforce them type deal.
Yeah, like Solomon was like, I appreciate that you have your rules, but they're your rules. They're not my rules, so I'm going to do whatever I want. Cain looked at him and was like, no, they're not your rules. They are my rules, and I will enforce them. I was like, this is such a cool thing. In the whole conversation, I just love Solomon's character. Not because of the power, but the power is part of the character. Like,
yeah, it's very mixed in with his whole like motivations and what he's trying to do.
Like, it's just Solomon's power enables him to reach certain heights.
Right.
It's basically like, again, I don't see the power of the character as a separate thing from the character. I think that the power of the character directly plays off of their personality. Because let's say you're like fucking Superman. If Superman and Batman have the same personality, which one's more justified?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I see.
Like, Solomon basically knows he can't die. But, hi.
Hey, welcome.
Yes,
Hey, I think I'm in.
Yeah, you are.
we're just talking about Solomon right now.
Hey.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it took me forever to find the invite because even though my college program teaches me all about Google, I still know nothing.
That's college for you. Guys, today we're going to learn about Google through feelings.
What? Okay, what? Can we go back on topic? Like I totally.
We're talking about Solomon and using him as an example for how the power isn't separate from the character, it's part of the character, and it directly plays off their personality.
Exactly. So many people get mad about not overpowered, but very powerful characters, and they just look at the powers and they don't think about the character behind it.
Like, I'm happy with it. It's so, like, our interactions are deep on site. The interactions we've had are very deep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a mortal person who has become immortal and still has the perceptions of a mortal being, with great power, which he sees as basically unlimited. Like, that's what I see, and it's awesome.
What? What?
Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were laughing and we were gonna contribute, but never mind. Like,
Yeah.
Like, a lot of other sites try to avoid giving people too much power because they're afraid of things. I don't believe we should be afraid. And the first thing is, no, I don't really want any of our worlds destroyed. But we can always make new ones.
That's the beauty of a multi-dimensional site. We can literally just grow upon what is there. If you destroy one place, you can just go, like, we can just kind of all collaborate and be like, okay, well, one place is destroyed, let's make 3 more.
Yeah, there are 2 places right now. There are 2 categories, 2 other dimensions sitting in my admin panel on the back burner that I just haven't worked on. I'm just saving for a rainy day.
Alright.
Like,
Now I have to watch Pocket Universe.
I've been working on in the background because we keep talking about this world that Solomon came from, and
Landing zone.
so I've been working on that in the background, just ready to kind of introduce that onto the site also.
I know, that's going to be awesome. If you see you can see I had a topic with Ray about his world. He didn't give up on it, but he put it aside so he can do something else. But it's basically what that is like. Like, the whole site basically goes, oh, okay, we want this world, and then it's a world. Or not even the whole site, the majority of it. People go, this is interesting, and then it exists. Like, that's the whole thing. That's why I wanted community input on the Anders situation, because if it was just me doing it, I would feel beyond terrible. I felt terrible even bringing it to the forefront of the thing. But I'm sitting here going, for the people who go into Radix, this happened, and it needs to finish. 15 people died. A tornado, which basically never happens in this pocket dimension, has just occurred.
People are freaking the fuck out.
People are going to be like, what the fuck? APAC got called. There was a battle. Shots were fired, literally. Fucking smoke. Why did people die? Why was there a girl with lava shooting out of her arm? There's going to be questions. There's going to be an impact on the world. The only thing that won't leave a mark is that Latonia every single day resets itself, so there's no damage. But the people there are still going to be like, what the fuck? That's the interesting thing about Latonia, is that it resets itself to its default every day. So if you destroyed it or tried to build like something that the people there collectively despised,
oh, that's great.
it would be gone.
Perfect training ground.
Let's say except for full people.
yeah, screw those
But
people.
theoretically,
Hey, who are these people? Who is Elodie? Who is that?
oh, that's Kia.
Okay, you're Ezreon, right?
No, he's Solomon.
No, I'm Solomon. Ezreon's my friend Andre.
Okay.
What happened to Rin?
I love Ezreon. He's the coolest.
Oh, you remember him?
Whatever happened to Rin Zenku? Why'd he stop?
Wait, who's
Um,
Ezreon? Who's Ezreon?
Ren is currently deep to his balls in college for concurrent education to be a teacher.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
Do I
Sorry,
know?
not college, university. So
Do I know Ezreon?
Ezreon was Ezreon on KH.
yeah, he was Ezreon and
No,
Kate.
I just love his profile. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, Ezreon,
He was on KH. He was on the Naruto Saga site also.
yeah, I wasn't on that for obvious reasons of hating Naruto.
I think I advertised on that.
He's actually me and Ren have been kind of on a hiatus for RPing. Like, it came back to that KH for a bit, but then again I got balls deep in college and kind of fell out again.
I get to choose if Andrew lives or dies. View the results first. Let's see what's up.
But me and Ren have kind of taken a hiatus from RPing, but Ezreon, he is literally not stopped.
Cool.
He loves it.
Good. No, I already see that he's like I love seeing members when they start to contribute things, even if it's a suggestion topic or a lore topic.
I have to go for a bit. I'll be right back, guys.
All right.
Alright.
A lot of that comes from I saw so many people on Kingdom Hearts with good ideas
That we can't do.
that we can't do. Why can't we do them? Oh, well, because we can't. That's not a reason.
Yep.
That's
Hey, what's your YouTube account that you're hosting this live on?
Cage Meadows.
I think he linked it on the site, didn't you?
I did link it on the site.
All right, it's happening. Yeah, I see it right now. Oh, see. I just want to see. Okay, we've been going for an hour and 30 minutes, just so you know.
That's awesome.
I mean, keep in mind, not everyone's gonna want to watch some of this long. Yeah.
Just
Sorry.
so you know.
Can you break it into pieces?
Niglet. All right, all up. Who's Elodie again? She did not just call me Niglet. Nickel, please.
Elodie is Kia. She's black, dude.
Elodie. Yeah, fuck you. I know you hear me. Hold on, she's live streaming right now. It's Elodie. Man, fuck you. Hold on. All right, hold on. We're about to have a whole section talking shit about one member. All right.
Shut up. Trying to start beef you don't care about.
I've got a Pomeranian over here chewing on my thumb. Not even biting me, just chewing on my thumb.
Oh, I need to make that Sin Eater topic.
Yeah.
I really want to. I'm probably gonna do it after dinner, but I've legitimately just been thinking,
Yeah.
like, a lot about things. Because my character's still very undefined right now, so I'm trying to just find who he is.
Right. Oh my God, we're gonna have to break this. How do we? Can we divide this into different videos? Can we just have 4 podcasts on Tuesday?
Nope.
I'll find a way.
No, it's live. It's already.
Just next time, make it easier and have one specific topic. Start it, finish. Finish that topic, and then go to the do
Yeah,
different
I'm
thing.
sorry. It's so.
All right, guys. So let's end this. Like, how do we end? Like, I know how we physically end it, but how do y'all want to end it? You know?
And we just sign off. Let's wait for Solomon to get back. We'll talk
No,
until.
fuck him. Let's fuck with him. Like, here, end it, and we're gonna tell him it's still on. And we're gonna fucking embarrass him somehow.
All right.
That's horrible.
Let's have podcast with him. But so guys, this is Blue Man. We've basically took up too much of your time. We're gonna be.
I'm Blaze/Novocaine. Look me up on YouTube. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
Don't do that.
Wow.
Yeah, we might just said that. Don't do that.
Wow. You shot your own foot.
Alright, guys, we have to delete this video. Anyway, alright. Asmont, Hunter, whatever you want to call me. Bye.